and welcome to Odiva TV. We are located at the Focus TV studios in Hollywood, and I'm very excited today because I have Derek+Lacey in our studio today, and he's a life coach for insomniacs. I mean, how amazing! You know that you're the very first life coach for insomniacs I've ever met?
Really?
Yes.
All right.
Very, very cool.
That's cool.
But you help people experience a higher quality of life. And then you deal with the sleeping problems instead of the other way around, because most people deal with the sleeping problems and then try to give them, like it's the opposite.
Right. And this is what happens when you're an insomniac. Better sleep is the furthest belief from your heart, right?
Yes.
You spent your life basically being proven the opposite. So when you go into it trying to sleep better in order to feel better, you're setting yourself up for failure. So what you want to do is focus on other things, because there's so many victories along the way that will just shift your perspective and your outlook on the end goal. So,
well, I wanted you to come in today because this is actually a very serious topic for me. I have insomnia. I do. I'm not suffering from it currently, but I have bouts of it that I go in and out and in and out of it. So I'm all ears. I can't wait to learn more about this. But when somebody calls you and they're like, I have insomnia, what do I do? What is the transformation process for these people when they call? A person like myself, actually.
Right. So like if I took you through a program, there's two angles, right? And as opposed to the one angle that somebody like myself tried for 15 years and just about everybody attempts, but we want to go from two angles, and one of them is the physical angle, stuff like food, water, magnetism, light, exercise,
all those
movement,
things.
All those things sort of, just here and there, of course. And then there's the emotional, right? So your underlying deeper belief on how you fit in this world as a sleeper, right? So what ends up happening...
How you fit in this world as a sleeper.
Yeah.
Wow, I never even thought of it that way before. Maybe that's why I'm still suffering from insomnia. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
if you don't feel like you fit in at the party, it's going to be hard to be social and go introduce yourself to people, right? You're going to pull out your cell phone and kind of get in the corner and not expose who you really are if you don't really belong there. So we want to come from two angles, because what ends up happening is that all the stuff that we focus on all the time, like the supplements and whatever gadgets that you want to buy online or apps, stuff like that, that's all the physical stuff. But the physical becomes recessive to the emotional. So it doesn't matter what you do. You're just
affected by it.
The other one will always override it. So we want both, right? So if you've perfected the emotional, that's why some people can have a cup of coffee right before bed. Some people can.
I wonder that. I mean,
some people can do that with their cell phone or their iPad, right? Yeah. So there's people. There's proof against that, but they've got the emotional. They never. If you ask them, what do you do to sleep better? Or how do you fall asleep?
Well, I put the TV on and then I fall asleep. I need the TV. I mean,
it's that helps some people.
Right.
But when you ask a really good sleeper what they do to sleep,
that's what you're about to tell us.
They
aren't
don't.
You?
Well, yes, and the really good sleeper doesn't need to hear it. Right. He or she already knows it. They don't consider it because it just happens. It's inevitable.
Right.
That's what I want to talk to you about, is how to make it inevitable.
Okay, so let's start with, so there's two components. There's the physical and then there's the emotional. So on the physical side, you mentioned food, water, light. Let's start off with food and water.
Okay. All right. Well, food, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have the right fuel for your body, you're not going to get energy from your food. Right. And if you're not getting energy from your food, what are you getting instead? Most likely inflammation and whatever lethargic reactions you might experience from that. What kind of decisions do you make when you eat food that makes you feel that way?
Like if you have a lot of sugar, or if you have a lot of caffeine, or you have processed foods that can add to all of that. So eating healthier really sets your body up chemically probably to sleep better.
It really does. And then we want to take it to the next level, right? Because this is what I did for years. I ate healthy and I felt so much better by that, but then there were still like the cravings and the confusion and then like the binges.
Especially at night.
Especially at night, which is common for sleep deprived people. But
I never snack at night, ever. No.
Ben and Jerry's?
No, ever.
Come on, what's your flavor?
Rocky Road ice cream? No, I never do it. So there's that. And then what about water? I mean, we all know to drink tons of water, but are there any certain times during the day that we should drink more? Is it before you go to bed, make sure you drink some when you wake up, or just always?
Here's the reframe. It's not really about the water that you drink. It's about the water inside you that your mitochondria are programmed to make.
Okay.
Right? Because it doesn't matter as much what you're drinking if your mitochondria are muted. And they become unmuted by sunlight, which is the other thing.
Wow, this is cool stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, vitamin D, sunlight?
Vitamin D, but more importantly,
real sunlight.
Real sunlight, like actual sunlight.
No suntanning beds.
Well, if it's infrared A, then that's okay.
Okay.
All right. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit later.
But sunlight.
But let's start with light, right? So we're under light right now, right? This is man-made light.
Right.
It's what we call non-native EMF. The sun has native EMF, or it's our light, right? It's
so
what
being in the sun, how often helps you sleep better? We're related in some way, right? How much time did they spend in the sun? Okay.
Yeah.
So not as much as you can, but just.
Well, there was no inside, right? That's where we come from.
Okay.
So as much as you can be in the sun, but for us who live in Los Angeles and live under ceilings,
I know.
Right? Early in the morning. But this is what happens, right? This light that we are
under man-made light, right?
Okay.
Oh, look at those fancy glasses. Oh, wow, I want to know all about it. What are those?
So this is basically, I'm protecting the integrity of the light I receive. Right. So there's blue light that's unnatural coming from these indoor lights. That's actually killing my melatonin. Melatonin's the hormone that induces sleep. Without melatonin, we can't sleep. Right.
That's why I take melatonin pills at night when I can't sleep.
Right. And let's get into that.
Yeah.
Later, I guess.
Later, we'll talk. Well.
Or now, I don't know. But the other thing is this is blue light coming from, but it's non-native. The sun has blue light, but it's balanced by all these other frequencies, specifically red and purple. You've heard about Roy G. Biv. Remember that guy?
Of course.
Of course. Yeah.
So these glasses are for indoor light.
These are for indoor, non-native
light.
It's right.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything that wasn't around 1,000 years ago.
And then because you're covering your eyes with it, it helps not stop the decrease of melatonin.
Right.
Okay.
It stops these guys up to a certain point.
Okay.
Right. There are things I could optimize this further, and I'm on the path to doing that.
Yeah.
But I go into an optometrist and absolutely making sure that nothing is coming through. I'd have to block everything, and keep in mind we have
they're looking really cool. I like them. Where can we get them?
These are from Swanwick Sleep. So you go to swanwicksleep.com.
Okay.
Type in the code, the Sleep Coach LA, and you'll get a little discount on that too.
All right. Well, so that is great for the physical side. When we come back, we're going to talk about the emotional side as well, right?
Yeah.
To help you sleep better for insomniacs like myself. But you didn't hear that from me. All right, we're going to break to commercial, and we will be right back.
Hi, this is Ariana Thomopoulos from The Modern Day Girlfriend, and you are watching Odiva TV.
I need one of these. I need 10 of these.
Is this what comes in the box every month?
Sign me up.
I was living with this woman,
Yep.
and she's like, "Oh God, I need some." Lady.
You can't even say the
I need
word.
some tampons.
You can't even say it.
And I'm like, wait, a tampon or is it a feminine napkin?
So then
With
what if
humor.
she sends you again the next month?
I'll be like, honey, you know, I got a friend, and she works for this really cool company. It's like Odiva or something. Why don't you just do that? I don't want to go anymore. I'm embarrassed. It's uncomfortable.
That's right.
That's what that is, right?
This is what Odiva is, a subscription box company that delivers monthly needs like tampons and pads and razors and all kinds of fun stuff too, and skincare and this and that to your front door every
Nice.
single month. So if you're that kind of guy that doesn't want to go to the store for your girlfriend, get Odiva.
Me, no, I don't like doing it.
And welcome back to Odiva TV. Today we have Derek+Lacey in the studio, and he is a life coach for insomniacs, which I love. So the first half of the show, we talked about the physical side to it, more water, more sunlight, eat better. Also, I know exercise as well. And then there was one more thing that you wanted to mention about the sunlight too, which I thought was really, really cool.
Right, just it's a reframe on water that we focus so much on drinking a lot of water, but what we need to focus on is the sunlight, because the sunlight is actually what turns our mitochondria into makers of water within us, which is that's where life is. So
you have to do all these things kind of together in order to
right. That's a great way of looking at it, and little by little, because if you're doing none of it, right, any little bit is going to make the biggest difference.
Right. So those are the physical things that you can improve. But what about the emotional? Because earlier you had said that there's the physical side and the emotional side, which, I mean, at night, honestly, Derek, I go in and out of insomnia. And so I go to bed at like, let's say 11. I wake up every night at 2:30. I don't know why it's the same time. My mind gets going, my mind gets going, my mind gets going. And I can't shut it off. It's awful. And my doctor told me to read books. So I read books, and now I can't read a book without falling asleep. So but what is it in the emotional side that you can say people should really work on and get in check?
Right. It's the belief. You have to work on the beliefs, and by changing the beliefs, you have to really look at all the times that you have slept on your own without the help of melatonin or reading, and realize that yes, I do have a place here as a sleeper, and that my brain is capable of inducing sleep on its own.
Yeah.
Right. So it starts there.
But I will go months without being able to sleep properly. Months.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
It's debilitating sometimes.
It is. So you think of your bigger purpose. Right.
Okay.
What is the thing that you were put here to do? What is the thing that sleeping better is going to help you do more of? Right?
Okay. So it really is about finding, I mean, everybody's searching to find their purpose, right? So it really does go that deep.
It does. And your purpose is your rite of passage. Right? That's your window to step into so that you can start sleeping. But the belief part, you have to base it off of the evidence that you are sleeping. Whenever somebody has insomnia, we tend to focus on the sleep that we don't get.
Well, that's true.
Right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And also, why is it that women are twice as likely to have insomnia or sleeping issues than men?
Well, what's the biggest difference, right? There are three things that I can think of, right? And then three things that happen to women that don't happen to me in a lifetime: menstruation, pregnancy, right, and menopause. So
that all has to do with it.
Well, you see this a lot. People at certain points of their life all of a sudden are going through some changes, right? So I'm glad we talked about sunlight. So backtrack a little bit. Because there are more things that can happen, there are a multitude of options we can turn to try to fix those. So women are more likely to become detectives in trying to figure out what's going on in their sleep, more likely to buy more supplements. And all of these things start to change that confidence, that belief system. The more we buy, the more that doesn't work, the more likely we are to think, I'm not meant to sleep. Right?
So what are some tips? I mean, if women are twice as likely to have sleeping issues because of, you were saying, menstruation or hormonal changes, some of the other ones were menopause and things like that. What can we do during that time of the month to help us sleep? Or when we're going through menopause, what are some tips?
Right.
The glasses.
These, again, light. Right?
Yeah.
So when things are changing with your hormones, where are they coming from? All of those instructions are coming from the pituitary gland, which is right behind the suprachiasmatic nucleus. That's our main clock. We all have clocks that do things in our body, and we need a master clock that tells all the other clocks what to do at what time, how, all that stuff, right? Including sleep. This has to be the fastest running clock, or else nothing else is going to work. It becomes the fastest running clock when we get the right sunlight at the right time.
So what is the right time for the right sunlight?
We want,
Morning?
Morning time. You want red light before the UV light comes out.
Okay.
You want as much of that as possible in your retina so that you can make melatonin, and so that the SCN could be the fastest turning clock, because that's where our DHA is, our fish oil.
Yep.
So that is acts as like a conduit, and it speeds up the clock. So when you do that, and then you avoid the blue light at the end of the night, right? And you make this a habit, or you can go get like infrared therapy at a spa. That's a big thing. Very soon they'll be on every corner, I hope. But
I know you can buy them for home too.
Yeah.
Home, like a face infrared as well.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
had an infrared sauna at one time, but
Our cells
Yeah.
optimize to sunlight. That's the bottom line, right? So
Okay.
instead of playing a detective and what's going on with my adrenal gland, no, just start with sunlight.
so what is the number one reason why men can't sleep? When you get calls from your clients, what would you say is the number one reason why they can't sleep? Whether
can't-
they know it or not.
Yeah, I can't shut off the brain.
Yes, okay,
Yeah.
got it. So what's the first thing you say to them? Just
Reframe.
Okay.
We don't shut off the brain. Our brain shuts off when we die.
Right. So it's always
not
going to
when
be
we
going.
sleep. Yeah.
So I'm sleeping.
Sleep
I wake
is a
up
very-
at 2:30. I can't fall asleep. What do I do?
Yeah.
What do I do?
You couple of things. All right. So you can. There's so many things, right? But you want to relax, right? Because when you wake up, you're doing a reality check. Like, I have everything here. Who am I? What's going on? Like, what day is this? What time is this? You're doing all these things that wake you up. So you want to go back down. You want to relax.
How do you shut off the brain though? Because it seems so impossible sometimes.
Two things. One, you don't. You go into the mindset that I'm going to regenerate. So even though you're pumped up, you just say, I'm going to make that transfer. I'm going to hand the baton to regeneration, which is just as active as my racing mind, right?
Okay.
And you can try feeling that surge of energy when you imagine going from thinking about your busy day
Right.
to your body actually like forming memories and consolidating like all these things and flushing out toxins, all the things that happen when you sleep. And it takes
Yeah.
so much pressure off of like waiting for that thing to happen, because you realize like, okay, this thing's on autopilot. I don't have to do anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you go as far back as to like working on people's relationships, and if they have not a great relationship, you kind of work with them on that. I love your philosophy that you really want to get all of that in check first before conquering the sleep. Instead of conquering the sleep with pills or whatever, I love how you do it the opposite way. That's awesome. All right, Derek, so before you go, I have one last question.
Okay.
When you have your life coach clients call you, what is the number one, let's say on an emotional level, what's the number one emotional issue that they have?
Down the road, we find out that their relationships are a little bit off axis, right? So like sleep is a relationship. If you have a bad relationship to sleep, it's going to be represented in real life. And so what I
Right.
find with women, more common than men, is that they're having trouble relating to the people in their life, whether it's like the intimate personal relationship or with friends or family.
Right.
And this is what I think, we're a little bit out of order with our genetics, with our DNA. And when a woman isn't expressing herself, if you really think about a woman's role on this planet, why they're here to make sense of things. They're here to make sense. And they really are. And so I come into this world with power. Like I might be able to bench press more than you. I'm not very strong.
No, you can bench press more than me, trust me.
Okay, so right, we know that. But what does that really do? That's power with no reason. There's nothing behind that until you tell me why I'm bench pressing, right? So it's our job as men to access our femininity through women. It doesn't mean watching The Notebook on a loop. It means like becoming that part of our DNA that's in all of us because we came from women, and then empowering you, and then you empowering yourself. So I help these women find their voice and say what it is that they want to say, because when they're muted, it's out of order, and then it falls back on the male ego. They become the leaders with all this force and power and with nothing behind it. And when we can make that switch and they
Yeah.
start not just saying what they want, because that can start an argument, but really coming from what they truly want and truly knowing how to ask for it, to put that ego on the other side at bay. And now
Express
we
that
can-
to their partner as well.
to their
is what you're saying.
partners, yeah, to their partners, and they start feeling expressed. And when they're expressed, you can't wait to wake up the next day and do what it is that you were put here to do.
Very nice words of wisdom. Thank you very much. So where can we learn more about Derek+Lacey?
You can go to sleepcoachla.com,
Okay.
and that's my website. I'm also on Facebook at The Sleep Coach LA and on Instagram at The Sleep Coach LA.
Great. And you do Skype sessions?
I do. Yeah, it's mostly over the phone.
Okay.
I found that that's the way that both people feel the most comfortable.
All right.
Yeah.
So if you're out there suffering like I have been all these years, it's true. So glad I met you. I'm going to be your next client, by the way. So check out Derek+Lacey. But thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. This was fun.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It's the ODiva TV studios. So happy to have you here. We're about to go live again with our next guest. So stay tuned and thanks for watching.